Okay, it takes a bit. Okay, so we are live on YouTube, we're live on Instagram. Thing. Yeah, we are live on Facebook, everywhere we need to be live. So smile.
Am I not smiling?
You are. I'm just like saying
I
it.
even opened the curtain so it's a little bit more sunny. So I
Nice.
smile than normal.
Perfect. So we are live on all platforms. I want to say welcome to another amazing live streams. It's me, Wendy, as always, but I am here today with Dori. She is a fitness coach, and we will be talking about something super important that can help you on your fitness journey, especially if you have a mindset about injuries, like that you don't want to get injured, or how to actually lift weights to prevent any back pain or shoulder pains and so on, because yeah, injuries are a big topic, especially in the fitness industry. So this is something that we will dive in today. And I want to say hi, Dori. Would you like to just introduce yourself so all my ladies know who you are?
Yeah, hi Wendy. Thank you for the invitation, and hi everyone. So I'm Dori. I've been coaching since 2021. I have a level 4 in personal training specialized in diabetes and obesity. I've been doing CrossFit since 21 as well. And
Mhm.
so I've, say, grown into being a CrossFit coach as well. And I do calisthenics on the side too. I've also qualified for that as well, which is interesting because I'm looking for competitions from next year onwards.
Mhm.
And I'm at university studying coaching, especially or specifically Olympic weightlifting, and I compete in.
Mhm.
So that's
Damn.
my background.
Damn, so many expertise, so many skills. I love that.
Yeah.
Have you ever been injured on your fitness journey?
I have actually, and it was back when I was playing basketball. So until 21, I played basketball since I think I was around like 10 or something. And we had an international competition, and my finger wasn't broken, but we went to at least 2 or 3 different hospitals, and they all said very different things. So even when I'm doing gymnastics, it's a lot more rigid, that finger, because they didn't treat that properly.
Mm-hmm.
But luckily, that was the biggest one so far, and I can be clumsy. Like when I'm tapping
Nice. So
myself, like everywhere I can, it's honestly ridiculous, but no serious injuries so far.
amazing. This is good because we definitely want to overcome any injuries. Like we don't want that to happen, especially not in my program. Okay. So I've been injured like 5 years ago when I torn my quad. Actually, when I was doing a CrossFit, and then I kind of like jumped into the lunge with something overhead, like with the barbell overhead, and that's when my quad kind of like torn like half and half, and then I suddenly fall down. I was super dizzy and I wanted to vomit. Like all the stressors just came in, all the adrenaline. So since then, I haven't done CrossFit actually, and I'm super, super careful about being injured. And this is something that
Yeah.
I want to touch base on, how to actually prevent any injuries, because yes, it can be quite scary, especially on the fitness journey as a beginner, to start lifting weights, to going to the gym for the first time maybe ever, or just like starting to do something more advanced. Then yeah, this is something that we definitely want to overcome. So have you seen like anyone maybe on your fitness journey as a coach, have you seen any clients getting injured?
I have actually, and it's interesting because especially in the realm of CrossFit, it's
Mm-hmm.
very community based, right? And yeah, sure, it depends on what box you go to and what the mentality is of the coaches working there. But typically, just because you're in a crowd with your friends, it can also be very easy to be influenced by what they are doing, and you want to
Mm-hmm.
keep the pace up, or you want to do what they are doing.
Yeah.
If say they are sharing a barbell and they're doing the movements, they don't want to keep changing the plates to what would be the appropriate load for them, and
Yeah.
so it's easy to get just well, not necessarily even injured right on the spot, but just like loading up your way up into a serious injury later down the line. That would
Mm-hmm.
be number one. Number two would be the busy ones that I see in functional gyms who reckon that the warm up is not really important, so they
Yeah.
just dive in straight into the workout and with no warm up or preparation whatsoever.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. This is something that I see a lot actually, that the warm up is skipped. Okay. So, ladies, we never want to skip the warm up because that's actually how I injured myself and then fucked my leg for the whole year. I couldn't walk, I couldn't squat, I couldn't do anything. And then it fucked me up for another 3 years because I actually developed disbalances. So, just those 5 minutes can actually saves you a lot of years ahead. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely warm up is something huge that I am focusing on. That's why I want you to do the dynamic stretches as well before every single workout. No matter if you are busy, I don't care. Honestly, just spend 5 minutes of warming up your shoulders, your hips, your hip flexors. Like do the things that you would do normally in the workout. So let's say if you will be squatting super heavy squats, just warm up with your body weight and just do a couple squats. Or for example, if you know that you will be doing lunges, just do a couple lunges before you're gonna actually pick the heaviest weights. Or for example, I do like down dog, do upward facing dog, kind of like moving my body in a flow. That's actually how I warm up. And then I also warm up with no weights at all. So if I know that I am gonna be shoulder pressing, let's say 30 kilos, I know that I will be first just shoulder pressing the barbell. Okay, or I will just do like a movement normally with my arms, then the barbell, and then I will keep adding small plates on each side. So it's not like I am going right to 30 kilos. The same with squats. I usually lift like 70 kilos. I will not go into the squat track and do the 70 right away. I will do body weight, then I'll do the barbell, then I will do 10 plates, so 40 kilos, 45 kilos, 50 kilos, 55 kilos, 60, and then I go to 70. But those warm up sets are super quick. Like it's only like 3, 4 reps, just like to save the energy, but warming up your joints and muscles. Is it something that you do as well, like before your warm up? Sorry, before your workout?
Yeah, I say it's a good rule of thumb to go by. So definitely number one would be joint preparation. So if you know what the main movements are going to be, then try to spend a little bit more time to loosen up those joints and do the dynamic warm-ups.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of preparation to the main moves, I'd say, yeah, definitely. If it's something that involves external load, then do the empty barbell say first, or just go with a very easy or like a very light dumbbell.
Yeah.
Just get the hang of the movement, see how you feel when you are actually doing it, because sometimes like weights can be prescribed, but you might have a shit day and you don't actually feel very strong at the moment. So it's okay to take it easy then. Or if you're having a great day and you feel a lot stronger than you thought you would, then just go for a little bit of a heavier weight. That's fine too.
Yeah.
But then in terms of working yourself or like working your way up to the working weight is also really important. So it
Mhm.
doesn't need to be, as Wendy said, a lot of reps, just a couple to see how you feel so that the muscles get a little bit of a larger blood flow. So
Yeah.
you actually know what muscles you should use for the main moves. So I'd
Hmm.
say that when you just when you're working your way up to the working sets, it's more like coordination as well, especially for a squat. You don't really want to rush the movement. You just want to keep your head in the game and actually pay attention to what you're doing.
Yeah, I love that actually. It's the same for like bridges, like glute drive or hip thrust as well. Like you don't
Yeah,
want to load suddenly like 100 kilo barbell just because that could actually fuck your lower back. So we want to always do like maybe 40 kilos, 50 kilos, just like small bits and bits. And
exactly.
I would say if you are increasing the weights, which I want you to increase the weights on a weekly basis, girls, but if you are increasing the weights, don't go crazy. Like suddenly I don't want you to go from like 10 kilos because you see a lot of PRs in our group chats and then you will be like, okay, I'm gonna do like super heavy PR and then I'll suddenly do 25 kilos. Then this is when you can actually injure yourself. So always try to increase it by 5%. So if you've done last week like 10 kilos, let's say, you can do now, let's say 12 kilos and see how you feel. Then maybe 14 kilos, see how you feel, maximum like 15 kilos, but it really depends on what muscle you are working on as well. If it's shoulders, you will be generally lifting less. If it's booty, pump it up. Okay.
Fair game.
Perfect. Yeah, so we kind of covered the joints, the muscles that we definitely need to warm up those areas before we're gonna start actually doing the workout. And that's what will help us to prevent the injury. Okay. Then we also covered that we need to kind of like focusing on our body, how it feels. So we don't want to rush through super heavy weights, and we want to increase it slowly but surely every single week. Okay. What else? Like, what are the most common injuries that is happening? Kind of.
I'd
Do you know?
say technique, but this sort of in a way goes hand in hand with sensible progression. So like in terms of adding load, not adding load, and breathing, because a lot of the times I see people breathe in a really ineffective manner when they're exercising. Same thing with the bracing. So I'd say get that down first, and then according to that, if you can control the weight that's heavier, then it's fine. Then it's time for you to, step your game up a little bit.
Mhm.
But other than that, it's just controlled movements. Same thing. So if you're not feeling very confident at the heavier weight, try to even use the same weight that you did before, but maybe the eccentric, the negative. So when you're say doing the weight down, try to make that a little bit slower, because even that you get a lot stronger in the eccentrics typically, but it
Mhm.
also gives you a little bit more of a confidence that you can control the weight slowly. So maybe the next time with control, you can also move heavier weights at normal speeds.
Mm,
That
I
would
love
be,
that.
if you do a movement slowly, it usually opens up the way for you to figure out if you're doing something wrong, because it's going to feel odd. The weight is going to show you the way anyway, how you should move. Gravity helps. So
Hmm.
that could be a good rule of thumb. On
Yeah,
a
that's
squat,
a good
on a
one.
deadlift, I wouldn't recommend on a press.
Mhm.
Um, at the beginning, definitely not. If your technique is great, then maybe eccentrics on a press can be good.
Mhm.
But that just stick to easier movements.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that. Actually, you covered two things in this one, and I just want to expand on that. So, breathing is super, super important, and that's something that I am actually teaching in the workshops in Prague. But, girls, if you don't know how to breathe through the exercise, um, kind of like a rule of thumb as well, just inhale before you're gonna start any exercise. I want you to, most of the exercises, I want you to roll the shoulders to the back, because I see like so many girls are just like leaving the shoulders like kind of bland, like they don't do anything. But actually, we want to use shoulders in most exercises, like 99%. So I want you to roll your shoulders to the back. That way, you are actually locking it into the joint. And then I want you to breathe in, and then kind of like imagine I'm gonna punch you in a belly, and that's how you're gonna engage your core. Like the belly button is going towards your spine, and that's how you're gonna engage the core. And then you, for example, squat, and then you breathe again, like exhale and inhale, and then you kind of repeat, because I see so many girls are just like rushing through the movement, don't focusing on the breath as you said, and then they injure their lower back, but it's just because they didn't engage the core well. So we always want to engage the core first before you're gonna do any reps, and that goes to every single exercise. It could be literally squats with dumbbells, it could be deadlifts, it could be rows, shoulder presses, like everything. You need to engage the core. Even if you are working out on the machines and it's a little bit safer for the body, you still need to inhale, engage the core, and then do the chest press, for example, or the lateral raises. Always engage. Okay.
Yeah. And
And
actually,
then
the workout itself at the beginning, when you don't know how to do it, it can be very tiring.
hmm, yeah, that's interesting actually, because I got used to it and I don't think about it anymore. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think when you need to think about the breath as well, plus the technique, it can be quite challenging. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
But second, uh-huh.
That just to go on with that. So the same thing with control movements and breathing. If you try to rush through a movement and you're using momentum or like jerking movements, that can also
Yeah.
be an opening way to injury. Just try,
Yeah.
even it's a bodybuilding style of a workout, just try to really control the movement, not because that's fancy to say in the bodybuilding realm, but because it makes sense. So you actually focus on the muscles that should do the job.
Yeah, totally. And that's another thing that I wanted to actually cover is form. So I see again a lot of girls or boys, even like in the gyms, they are just like ego lifting. It's
Yeah.
when you are loading a lot of weights and then you are just like moving with the motion. And then
Yeah.
you are like, why I'm not seeing results? Why my back hurts? Why I don't build a lot of muscles? It's just because you are probably using a lot of movement and momentum instead of like really focusing on the specific muscle groups. So, for example, another thing is I want you to stop using the momentum and I want you to really lift, for example, the lateral raises with just your arms. The same like squats. You really want to just squat really slowly and then go up and then breathe again, engage your core and then squat slowly down again. So it's always yeah, I'd rather see your form being correct than lifting super heavy but using momentum, because this is kind of like the CrossFit style. This is what I would say, and it's very dangerous. Like if you don't know that your form is right, then you can always listen. You can always check yourself in a mirror, which I wouldn't recommend just because you are keeping your head up. So
Take
the
a
second,
video.
yeah, take a video and then send it to me or send it into the group chat and so on. So we will just check it and then we will make sure that you are good to go for the next week to push a little bit more weights.
Amen. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yes, totally. Okay, what else do we know? So we've got the warm ups, form, we've got breathe in as well.
You can do pauses as well. That sort of goes hand in hand with no jerking or momentum. So if
Mm-hmm,
you see exercise with pauses, maybe not even at the beginning position or the finishing position, that's like somewhere in between, it is for you to actually stop for a moment, think about what you're doing, see if you're really engaging the muscle that should work. That applies also to the end position. So like say holding a hip thrust at the top position, are you really using your glutes or is it something else? When
mm-hmm,
you're doing pull up, are you really squeezing down your scapula, your shoulder blades towards your hips or not?
mm-hmm.
These can be also very good preventative ways of having you work out.
Yeah, that's a good one as well. So, for example, in my app, you will see, ladies, the workouts or the exercise, and then in the bracket, it usually says like a back or glutes, and this is what you should be actually feeling. So, for example, again, if you are doing biceps curls, but you don't feel your biceps properly when you are squeezing them up, then you are probably using a lot of momentum, and then you go like that. So again, like for biceps, I want you to go up, squeeze the biceps, and then go slowly down. Okay, so we are not rushing through anything, and this was a good point. I have another one is, for example, like this is what I've seen as well. Not many, well, not many, but like for example, if you are feeling super tired, you are fatigued, or you are just after sickness, or maybe you feel sick and
Mm.
you have some pain, or you just like feel some pinching pain, or maybe you have stiff joints and you just like feels fatigue, then that's the time when you shouldn't work out at all, or maybe skip the exercise that doesn't feel good. And because I see so many girls are just going through the momentum, and they're like, yeah, it hurts, but I'm gonna just finish my exercise, or I'm just gonna finish my workout. Yes, I want to see you being dedicated, but also I want you to tell me if you have any pain. Because if you will go over the pain and then you will be working out with the pain, you're actually going to make it even worse. And we don't want that. Okay. So it's something different if you go super hard, but you feel good in it, or if you are going through a pain and then you will end up being in a more pain. And we don't want that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Also, when it comes to the fatigue, I had a client that they told me like, "Hey, I feel dizzy when working out. I almost fainted and so on. And it's again just because you didn't, for example, eat. So definitely eat before your workouts. That will help you to actually feel more energized. That will give you the strength. I don't want you to ever work out on a super empty stomach or after fasting and so on. Even though some girls like to fast, but for my workouts, because we lift heavy, I don't want you to fast. I want you to have at least a banana before workout. I want you to have a sandwich, rice cakes, peanut butter with something, apple with something, or normal food. Like if you are going in the afternoons, just have like rice, chicken, whatever, like a normal food, and then go work out. Or overnight oats are really good as well. Do you eat before your workout?
Usually, yeah, I have so my training start from around 9.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have my breakfast a couple hours before that, but before training, probably 20 minutes before, I do have a couple of dates.
Mm-hmm.
To help a lot. But then I do agree with not training fasted. It's especially for females and hormones, it's not necessarily the best. Even if you don't feel hungry, you don't need to eat a lot. As I said, maybe 3, 4 dates are good enough, or just a good kind of a granola bar, something that gives you energy for the workout itself, but doesn't contain many calories necessarily for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely be something.
Yep.
And sorry. And the other thing is caffeine can help a lot as well, just to combine that with something that's quickly absorbed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. And yeah, that's so true. Like you don't need to overeat yourself. I usually eat and I'm not hungry. Like honestly, if I would choose, I'm not hungry probably like until 10 a.m., but I usually work out at like 9, 10. So I
Yeah,
always have kind of like a huge breakfast because I know I need a fuel to actually lift heavy to have strength. Because I've done that before when I was like fasting. I thought I am super cool. I am following this trend on TikTok, just like fasting and then working out because I will burn more body fat. It was actually bullshit because I felt dizzy. I felt super weak. My form was shit. And I was like so close to actually injure myself. So that's another thing. Like, always eat, girls. Okay.
yeah. It's like you feel. So yeah, if you feel like you can really focus because fasting doesn't give you that sort of mental clarity, then do definitely have something before training.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're also here to do like to lift heavy, sort of get muscles. So having your hormones in check is a good thing.
Yeah, totally. Perfect. Yeah, I think we've covered the main parts of like how to work out without getting injured. There is so many things like we can definitely cover. I also want to say like don't ever like do back-to-back exercises. Like for example, if you have two lower body days in your week, try not to do them like side by side or like Monday, Tuesday, because we always need at least like 24 hours to rest the specific muscle groups in order to grow, to get stronger. Because if you think about it, like you've been in the gym and then your muscle fibers just broke down, and then we need 24 hours at least to put them back. So if you're gonna do another workout, basically they are still open, they are still not healed, and then you can actually again injure yourself a little bit more. So yeah, this is just another tip as well. Always have at least 24 hours before you're gonna do the same kind of workouts or exercises. Okay, I think this is kind of like a wrap up. Hopefully, you will feel more confident going into the gym right now because you have all those tips how to prevent your injury. So, we don't want to see any injury, okay? It is not allowed in my program or anywhere else because it is not fun and we don't want to deal with that. But if you, for example, feel like you injured yourself, honestly, if you know that it's just like a slight pull, I would just take ibuprofen, and then I would drink a lot of water, and then I would just sleep it off, or put some ice patches on that as well, just to reduce the swelling. And then in just couple days, it should be fine. If you know that you really pulled something really hard and it's fucked, then I would just let me know. Then we will kind of like change the workout plan. I would also check maybe with your physio, and I would try to have some rest for your injured muscle. Or, yeah, that's kind of like the main things that I would do if I would get injured. Okay. Do you have like any quick kind of tips, what would you do, or what would you say to your clients?
Beforehand, just what we discussed, massage is always a good idea.
Mm,
Because sometimes just foam rolling and using a smash ball is not enough. That it doesn't go to into the tissues deep enough, so you
yeah,
actually feel better.
yeah,
It can be helpful, but a massage is always a better idea, I'd say.
yeah.
Good thing what you don't want to do though is avoiding movement because tissues, in order for them to heal, need blood flow, right? So even then, if it hurts, you just want to do something body weight, just gentle movement, so it keeps things flowing.
Mhm.
Good nutrition, hydration,
Yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. And then I can just say from my own experience, I just went today to physio, and then he told me how I am broke down into pieces because my hamstring is tight, my left back is tight as well. So I am slowly creating imbalances. So even though you are not injured, but you know that you feel tight or stiff, I would definitely recommend going to sauna and having massages on a regular basis. It's just preventing your injury. Okay, so that's why I went today, because I felt like a little bit off and I didn't want to injure myself if I would push really heavy in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, definitely massage and sauna is another good thing. Foam rolling as well, and yeah, that's
On
yeah.
that note, last thing, what you want to do is that when you see the dynamic warm-ups for your workouts, it's not something that you can do only before workouts. It's always a good idea if you can, and if your work allows it, say you have home office or something, just
Mhm.
to move your body maybe like 5-10 minutes every 2 to 3 hours, just so you get the blood and your joints are loosened up a little bit, so you're also reducing the risk of getting a hell of a lot more stiff
Yeah,
than those. So just
totally.
regular movements would be
Yeah,
also
I like that. And I always like foam rolling myself like before I'm going to bed. So I know that I will sleep better as well because the blood
it feels
flow goes to my muscles.
hmm.
Yeah, perfect. Ladies, if that was useful, drop a fire emoji down below or just message me the takeaways because I want to know. Hopefully, that was useful, and we will see you in a couple of weeks again. Okay, so let's not injure yourself, follow those guidelines, and have the best day ever. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Okay, wait.